Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thing where I talk about things. Today, I would like to talk about Minecraft Online, because it's had kind of an interesting legacy online. It's less popular than it used to be. I think it was about like 5 or 6 years ago. I saw the very first Minecraft video that ever really drew me into the game, or drew me into looking at the game. It was just a couple of guys who'd never really played Minecraft before, and they filmed themselves playing on a server that they'd set up. Like, they'd figured out how to set up a private server, and they just got online and they played Minecraft, and they didn't really know any of the crafting recipes or anything like that. This is way back in the beta days. And I thought, oh, this is really kind of interesting. I was just watching them fight with skeletons and worrying about creepers and living in a tree, and it was all very, very amusing. And YouTube was a really big part of actually what made Minecraft so big. So much so, in fact, that when YouTube came to Notch and they asked him, hey Notch, would you like to upload all your stuff into Content ID, and you can start to take all the Minecraft videos that are on YouTube and just own them? Notch said, no, I can't, I can't do that. He thought about it because YouTube believed that he would make a whole ton of money from doing this, but he thought about it and he's like, no, because there's like a lot of content that basically promotes Minecraft, and that would be a really terrible idea. And then Nintendo turned around and they took that. But Notch did not, because Minecraft basically got big because of YouTube videos. And there wound up being a lot of channels. Yogscast springs to mind as a channel that actually grew up around Minecraft and got very big as a result of it. And I used to watch a good couple of them. Yogscast I didn't keep up with quite as much, but I had a friend who was really, really into a lot of different Minecraft personalities. Yogscast always did interesting things. I'm not sure what they do now. I think they might have branched out. In fact, a lot of the old Minecraft guys kind of did branch out because they, as the game lost popularity, it got to be, well, I have to do something else. I have to keep my viewers and do something else. But YouTube is weird in that it doesn't really. It's tough. You don't necessarily get channel loyalty. Like we see this with my channel where I've got like 150,000 subscribers, and I'll post a new video. And like personal time with Greg will get like 3,000 views in the first week maybe, and then maybe 4,000 by the end of a couple weeks. There's like, okay, I mean, 4,000 views is not a small number of people, but in terms of like YouTube ad revenue, it's like $4. And so when you talk about people making a living on YouTube, if you got a few thousand viewers, you can do something with that, but you can't live on YouTube ad revenue. You can't make a living on that. But in fact, actually, I can tell a story about this. I mean, you get into like weird things where I've seen people will do stuff that just cracks me up, and I think Minecraft still has this power, but to a lesser degree than it once did. But like one example was I saw this really weird like 3D animation, but it would say things like Frozen, Disney's Elsa, Frozen, and they would use these, all these brand names and things like that in their video, because what they were doing is they were showing like Frozen's Elsa was interacting with the Rise of the Guardians character stuff. They would take whatever pop culture thing was interesting to people at the time, and they would just smash them all together in this one video, and it was like this really awful, like poorly animated, poorly scripted, and I think it was like voiced with robots, so it wasn't even like good voice acting. All of it was awful. It was just like tragically awful, but it was like train wreck awful, so you would almost go to watch and just be like, oh man, oh my god, like, well, I have to see the next one now. And so they just got more and more popular because they had all these brand words, and then when you actually watched them, they were just so weird. You had to go and you had to watch the next one. So these videos would get very big. And Minecraft is the same way. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because I saw on 4chan people have been posting this guy who does Minecraft videos, and he gets 10 million hits per video, and all of his work is terrible. And it's not like terrible like it's harmful. Like some people go on the internet and they want to spread all kinds of like really bad ideas, like they tell you to eat bleach or something like that. And they're so charismatic that people go home and they really think like, oh man, I'm gonna eat bleach today because that guy said to eat bleach, and they tell all their friends, they reblog on Tumblr, eating bleach is really good. So this guy's not harmful or anything like that. He just makes really bad Minecraft videos. So you can't like be angry at him. But it's the same thing. What he does, and this must be part of how he gets to 10 million views, is I see that a lot of times he'll post like naked Minecraft girls, and they're in that 3D Minecraft thing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the music videos that people do, where they call them parodies, and like copyright law is weird, and so I don't know if they really would be parodies or not, but I am not a copyright lawyer, so I could not say. But they do animations with like Minecraft, with blocky Minecraft characters, and I think that those are probably fairly easy to make. I mean, as far as like 3D animation goes, characters like that are just pretty much solid blocks are probably fairly easy to put together. So there's a bunch of animations like that out there. And what this guy does is he uses whatever engine that is, and he animates, and he does this weird thing where he has like the hair animates independently, and I don't know what he's doing, but his scripting is just like god-awful. He has cameos from like SpongeBob, and like SpongeBob and Patrick are in his videos, and the voice acting is really bad, and the scripting is really bad, and there's virtually no jokes. Like, all he does is it's just Minecraft, and then in the thumbnail it'll be like a picture of a naked Minecraft girl. And he gets away with this because even though the girl is naked, like, she's just blocks. Like, her boobs are just blocks. Like, there's no nipples or anything like that, and her butt is just like square. So it's not really like sexy. But when you're looking at like drawing in a young male demographic, like, oh yeah, that'll do it, you know? Like a lot of young kids, I think that Minecraft is still popular with young kids. So like a lot of young kids especially will click on those videos because they see like Minecraft boobs, you know, and any kind of boobs when you're that young. Yeah, boobs. Gonna go look at boobs. And of course, most of the video, like, there is no boobs. Like, you'll have maybe like 3 seconds total of like Minecraft boobs, and then he'll just go immediately into this like dry, awful humor. And then he ends his skits, and you can tell like he gets to the end of the script and he doesn't know how to end it, so he'll just end it with like his character screaming and running off screen or something like that. And it'll be over a thing that like wasn't even really that audacious. Like somebody will be like, oh man, I'm gonna like rub frosting on my butt, and then he like screams and he runs off screen, and there's like no build up. Like there's not like any kind of like, oh yeah, I could see where you would get frustrated and you would just leave. It's sort of just like he just does it and then video over, done. But 10 million views, and that is I mean, like, what is that? For the fact that this guy can apparently do this frequently, I'm sure he's making a fortune on YouTube. It just blows my mind, you know, when I see this sort of thing, and I'm just like, man, like, I really want to do original series on YouTube. But you gotta get an audience for it, because when you do things like we're doing Jim of the Romantic Journey, like, nobody knows what Jim of the Romantic Journey is, so people, I mean, hopefully one day, but currently, like, nobody's looking up, like, Jim of the Romantic Journey and seeking out Jim of the Romantic Journey, but people look up Minecraft, or people look up Undertale, or they look up Five Nights at Freddy's, and things like that. And so videos that are doing things like Five Nights at Freddy's parody, Five Nights at Freddy's Elsa Frozen, those all get, like, millions of hits. And it's weird because YouTube is so uptight about copyright law, like they'll just automatically take your videos and hand them over to some kind of rights management company if they can find some way to game the system and take control of your videos. But when somebody is just like blatantly ripping off an intellectual property to get like millions and millions of views, there's nothing that happens. And I wouldn't want them to try to implement a system that did something about that, because they would get like a ridiculous number of false flags, and knowing Google, they would just pretend that, you know, nothing bad is happening, it's all working out. But anyway, Minecraft, still surprisingly popular on the internet. But away from that, though, Yogscast I didn't watch very much, but I remember I used to watch this guy who, his video series was called Farlands or Bust, and he went by the name Kurt J. Mack. And Kurt J. Mack actually had a really good sort of radio personality. Like, the guy could just talk. I mean, like, you would just watch him and he would play Minecraft and he would just talk. And like, I do Let's Plays and stuff, but all my editing is in post. But if you ever watch me like in a stream and I'm playing games with people, like, I get really sucked into the game. Like, I get really absorbed in it. I concentrate really hard, and I can't play the game very well unless I'm like concentrating. So if I try to do running commentary while I play a game, like, I'll start to say something and then I'll lose my thought and it's just gone. Like, I can't do that very well. But this Kurt guy just had the ability to like play games and just sort of talk casually as he's playing. And he's got a good voice, he's got a good radio voice. And he got really huge because what he was doing is, way back in the day, Minecraft had this thing where if you got to the end of the world, things started to glitch out. Like, the sea level rose, so that if you went down in the caves, like, you would find water in all the caves and things like that. There were all kinds of like weird things in the game, because Minecraft just went on infinitely. I think that now what happens is, if you get to the edge of the world, it actually wraps around. And worlds are usually so large that it should be theoretically impossible to get to the end of the world, but it used to just be that Minecraft was infinite. The algorithm just kept on going. However far you went, it kept trying to generate terrain, but if you got to a certain distance, it started to break down and get confused. So they called that area where the engine started to break down, they called that the Farlands. And somebody estimated that it would take like years to have a character just hike out to the Farlands, to just go out there and you know, be in the Farlands. And so it wasn't really a big deal. People were like, yeah, it's just sort of an interesting fact of the game. Like, no one would ever go out to the Farlands, but, you know, this is what's out there if you did go. So this guy started a series where he decided he was just going to actually pick up his things, and he walked all the way out to the Farlands. And he picked up like a pet wolf, and he named it Wolfie, and he tried to keep it alive as he walked all the way out. He just walked in one direction. Like, every single day he walked in one direction. And at the end of his videos, he would show you, like, this is how much progress I made, this is what the map looks like now. And he would talk about things that he ran into, because he'd run into, like, all kinds of interesting terrain formations. Because back in early Minecraft, current editions of Minecraft, I actually kind of don't like this very much. They've sort of homogenized the terrain generation. So if you run into like a mountain biome, it sort of gradually slopes up into taller, you know, stuff, and then it kind of slopes back down into your whatever. And it all blends together really well. But Minecraft used to be weirder in that you'd come into much more jarring landscapes. Like, you'd get into a place that was mountains, and you would just find like jagged, you know, like lumps of land sticking up like teeth along the terrain. And I remember that being really cool, because back in the very first Minecraft server that I ever played on, with friends, like, one of the first things that I found was like one of these jagged sets of teeth. And so what I did is I built a fortress into one of these tooth-like structures, and then built like bridges from tooth to tooth to tooth, and then went down and I mined underneath them. And so it became my mountain hall fortress, and that was pretty cool. But you don't run into structures quite like that anymore, not unless you're playing a modded version of Minecraft. But yeah, he would just run along and he'd talk about like interesting structures that he found, or like, you know, you'd find dungeons and stuff like that. Things would have collapsed into the dungeons. And then Notch updated Minecraft to make it to where you couldn't get to the Farlands anymore. They actually removed the Farlands, and they just made it to where, you know, you get to the end and you wrap around or whatever. So he had to keep going. Kurt J. Mack had to keep going with Farlands with an older version of Minecraft. And last I checked, it appeared that he maybe quit the series, and I'm not sure if he quit the series because he lost interest in it personally, or what the deal was. Maybe he's not able to actually access that old version of Minecraft anymore, or you'd have to mod it, and you know, it's more technical trouble than it's worth. I'm not sure what happened. I just went to go look at his channel, and was super sad because like he had like over 200,000 subscribers, and all of his videos had like 3,000 hits at best. I was just like, oh man. Like, Kurt was a really nice guy. That kind of sucks. He quit doing Farlands or bust, and then just his audience vanished. But he started doing other Let's Plays on like kind of like very niche games, like racing games I'd never heard of, and things like that. And that was what was interesting, and that's why I brought up the whole thing with, like, you know, Olaf, Frozen, Elsa, Five Nights at Freddy, is that this formerly enormous YouTube personality, he just started doing obscure games. And then he himself just vanished into obscurity because people were coming for Minecraft initially, and I don't know, he was, the guy had the talent. I mean, like, legitimately, the guy had the voice and the personality to do that Farlands or bust thing. Like, his following was totally understandable. I liked him, but yeah, it dropped off considerably. Anyway, though, that said, though, Minecraft, of course, was not just limited to YouTube. I did a lot more playing of Minecraft than I did of watching Minecraft. I put a good number of hours into Minecraft. But outside of private servers that either I owned or a friend owned, I could never get too totally invested, and I'm not sure why this is. I've gone on a couple of pony servers, and pony servers are funny because it's sort of the same as any other Minecraft server, but a lot of times people feel compelled to try to add a bunch of mods to simulate that pony feel. So one of them that I kind of liked was that you could play as a dragon, and it didn't change your skin or anything, which was too bad. But you would say, like, I am a dragon, and what that basically meant is that you could fly and that you were immune to lava. And there were some drawbacks to being a dragon. I can't remember what they were, but you could fly and you could be immune to lava. So I took advantage of this. This opened up some options where I went to a place that was actually fairly close to the spawn, and then I created I dug down. and I found a cave, and then I looked for some lava in a cave. And so I created a well, and I just filled it up with lava. Like, I put lava along the top. And so what this then became, this sort of well, where if you drop down into the well, and you went to the bottom of the well, and you exited through the well, then you were in my house. And this was kind of cool. And I actually didn't lock any of my house. I just let it be a secret. And everything, like all of my stuff, all of my valuables, they were all hidden. They were hidden in various secret places. And this I did intentionally because Minecraft, I feel like, should be kind of an exploration game in a lot of ways. I really wish that there was more to find and more to see in Minecraft Vanilla. There is in mods. If you like, for example, Technic Pack, there's a bunch of mods that promote exploration and kind of looking for dungeons and stuff like that, and that's pretty cool. Probably one of the things that keeps Minecraft interesting if you have friends who want to like get involved in mods like that with you. But anyway, though, in vanilla Minecraft, though, I feel like if you're going to do a multiplayer server, you ought to leave things that people are going to want to see, and when they see it, they think, oh man, this is pretty cool. And then they steal all your crap, because it's a video game, and that's what people do. So I hid stuff, like, all over, but it was all through things that would be kind of like, intuitively you could figure it out. Like, there would be, like, little switch blocks, switch blocks and lava traps and things like that, and if people could get through them, or if people just, happened to be lucky and they dug straight down, and they were like, oh, wow, this is a room full of treasure, then they could potentially steal all my stuff, and that would be their reward for finding my things. Because I went through all the trouble to build all this stuff, and all this trouble to hide all this stuff. I went through all the trouble to hoard everything. How boring is that if I just sat on it and nobody else got to see, what I did? So, this worked pretty well. People found my main house all the time because you had all kinds of players that would show up as dragons, and they would like go down in that well because they'd just be like, oh, a well full of lava, cool, and they would just like leap right into it because they have this special dragon ability. And then lo and behold, there was my house, and they would steal all of my torches, and so I would log into the game, and my house would be full of creepers and skeletons and other things, and I'd just be like, oh no, that's not good. And I have to kill all the stupid things, and then like I had an underground. What do they call that? Like an arbitoire? I don't know. A place where you keep trees. And so I had like a bunch of underground trees, and I would harvest the trees, turn them into charcoal, make some more torches, put the torches up, go back to work on my underground house, fleshing it out, making it more interesting for the next guy to come down and steal all my stuff and take all my torches. And every day for a while, well, not every day, but every time I logged on for a while, that was my process, is I would just log in, I would see whether or not my stuff was stolen, and from time to time, all my stuff was stolen. And then I would just go out and I would get more stuff and I would put it back in the chests and I would, rebuild everything. And then people would come by and they'd steal my things again. So that was fun. That was actually kind of, that's the way I feel like Minecraft should be. Some of the stuff they never found. Like the most valuable things that I kind of didn't want them to take, I hid well enough that nobody ever found it. And that's because especially when using lava, if you only have if only 10% of the players on this server are playing dragons, then like the lava traps pretty much deter most of the player base. Like, those people are not going to dive into the well full of lava because that's just death and then they lose all their items. So really, it was only dragon players that were coming down and stealing my crap. Or once somebody had actually tunneled into my house. Like, they just randomly tunneled into my home. Like, I found the wall and I was like, oh, well, this is an eyesore, and I blocked that up and I went back to work. So somebody tunneled into my house and they stole all my things. But that was just like a side tunnel. I don't know what somebody was doing. They were just like mining in a straight line across the server. And yeah. And I think that's what's more fun about Minecraft. I've got a server that I run actually right now, and CF likes to give people tours if you're into that sort of thing. Although I mean, it's not very open. The server's not very powerful as far as like gaming goes, so there's not a lot. You can't have a lot of people on it, and so we kind of have to be careful about bringing too many people in. But every now and then, like from our gaming group or whatever, CF will bring some new guy in and he'll show him around the server. And we've got a bunch of stuff online that's just kind of fun and interesting to look at. There's historical reasons for things, but a lot of times like you'll find that somebody came on the server for a while and they were kind of fascinated and they built some stuff, and then they quit showing up. And so later on, like after they built this thing, like me, I'll log in or somebody will log in and we'll find this like just a contraption or a tower or just some really interesting structure. Superstructures are some of the most fascinating things that you find. Like somebody went through all the trouble to build this amazing superstructure, like in survival mode no less, and you just find it. And it's like an archaeological wonder because all you can do is speculate on what was going through this person's head, because we haven't talked to them in like several months and we don't know why or how they built this thing. So that's actually kind of fun. And like I say, CF gives tours of the things that he knows were built. He will actually lead people from place to place and be like, yes, this was built here, and this did this, and so on and so forth. We've got a place in the Nether that's been like beautified. It's still dangerous, but it's full of like trees and other attractive things. You know, it's no longer like Nether rock. It's like, you know, it's all pretty. Somebody went through a bunch of trouble. We've got like underground things. We got above ground things. That's pretty neat. Yeah. But I used to have a friend though, and this was terrible. Like, his houses tended to be fairly simple, but what he would do is that he would fill his houses full of traps. Like, all kinds of things, and then he would like leave his house unlighted. And he would do this and it would get him killed more often than it would get anybody else killed, because he was theoretically living in this house. But he mostly just did that so that when people came to explore and see what he did, they would die all the time. And he didn't really have anything that was worth stealing. He just, like, because it would just be like iron ore, stone. Like iron ore stone. Because he was just like digging, and he would have a thing like, I'm just going to be digging an underground lake, and I want it to go as deep as it can, but I want it to be a gradual lake. I want it to go. So he would just have these interesting project ideas. And exploring them would kill you. Because that's what he wanted to do. But the only other servers that I used to play on is, I remember Alpha may still be free, but Alpha used to be free if it isn't still. And Alpha servers, I would go on those every now and then and kind of check them out. But Alpha servers are not nearly as fun because a lot of times the stuff that's built there is already, I don't know, there's not really like a theme. You don't get a real big sense of like, I mean, everybody kind of builds something and they have these rules, and like you can get elevated to a higher position and maybe get creative powers if you're really good. And this was the trouble, is that I once got on one of those servers and I tried to do some building without the flying abilities or anything like that. And eventually I just gave up because it was really tedious. I was trying to make like a gigantic super tree, because you get creative but you can't fly. And I don't know why they had this set up, like where normal people could not fly. But they're just like, yeah, you can't fly. So it was like really tedious because I had to like go around in a circle and like, block, 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 jump, block, 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 block. Oh, I fell down. Oh, I have to build stairs up to the, just shoot. So this was taking forever. And eventually I just like, so I built a giant stump in their server. And then I was just like, oh no, giant tree's not that creative. And I gave up because it was too much effort to like be elevated to the position where I could fly. And the guys who could fly were like clearly doing all kinds of interesting things. Like they were going up and they were building like stuff in the sky and things like that. Like flying, you really underestimate how powerful flying is in Minecraft if you're trying to build a structure. I mean, it gives you a bird's eye view so you can tell whether or not you're building with symmetry, for example. Like if you screwed up and you miscalculated by one block, if you fly overhead, you can catch that early on. But as you're puttering around, as you're puttering around on the ground, you're just screwed. You know, you'll get to a certain point and you'll realize like, wait a minute, it doesn't quite line up right. Ah, man, shoot, it's too late then. Yes, but yeah, Minecraft continues to be an interesting phenomena. There's still a lot of mods for it. Bucket, unfortunately, kicked the bucket. The bucket mods. I used to use that for, well, I still use that for the server. So our server is actually on an old, outdated version of Minecraft. And this is because Bucket no longer updated. Like, the guy who owned the code, he issued a DMCA on it for some kind of political reason. I can't remember what it was, what he was upset about, but he got mad about something. And so he sent a DMCA to the Bucket teams, and Bucket went down. And now I think that you can use other things like Spigot or stuff like that. There's other programs that you can run, but my server runs on Bucket. But I still kind of think it would have been neat to run the game on the Technic pack. It's just that the Technic pack eats up so much more RAM, and you can't have nearly as many people on the server. Given that we very rarely ever had the server limit online, though, I might have been able to get away with it. But I don't know if it would have been worth it, because Technic Pack, while fascinating, is way more tedious, and I like playing it more to some extent, but it's mainly because there's more to see, and there's more of an upper limit to what you can build. But once you reach that upper limit, I mean, like, there's really nowhere to go. Like, you're at the pinnacle of Minecraft. You know, you basically have creative mode. It's just that it's creative mode while playing survival, that's kind of like your end game. You could go kill the Ender Dragon, but you know, you're as powerful as you can possibly be. He's pretty much gonna die and no trouble at all. Although then an Ender Dragon thing was very silly. And anyway, though, I suppose that'll be it for today. Thanks for joining me, everybody. You guys have a good day. I will catch you all next time.